Selection and Events Officer for Schwarzman Scholars. I'm thrilled that you're tuning in to this information session here today. So in terms of a quick overview of what we'll cover during this hour-long session, we will be certainly talking about Schwarzman Scholars, give you an introductory look at what the program has to offer, and then also talk about the admissions process. Throughout this information session, I will try to really give you a better understanding of what we have to offer, and then spend the rest of the information session addressing your questions and answers. So please utilize the Q&A feature that is available on this webinar to input your queries, and I'll try my best to attend to them all throughout this interactive information session here today. So as we kick off, I think it's really important to first tell you why Schwarzman Scholars was created and what we hope to achieve. Schwarzman Scholars was created by Stephen A. Schwarzman, the founder and CEO of Blackstone, in partnership with Tsinghua University's president, President Cho. They both noticed in their respective careers that there is a gap in relationships between Chinese leaders and their counterparts in the United States and the rest of the world. This gap in relationships could lead to a gap in understanding, which may result in some serious geopolitical conflict. And they were concerned about this. And so over time, they together developed, with the support of leaders from all over the world and across sectors, the Schwarzman Scholars Program. By identifying the next generation of future young leaders from all over the world, having them live and learn together at Schwarzman College in Beijing, China, we hope to address this knowledge and relationship gap. Ultimately, this 10-month opportunity and experience is just the beginning of a lifelong journey for our scholars in our community to fulfill our mission, which is to deepen mutual understanding between China and the rest of the world, with the end goal of creating a more prosperous and stable future for everyone. And so we are able to do that with our partner in this initiative, which is Tsinghua University. Tsinghua University is a leading university based in Beijing, China, one of the premier higher education institutions. It has over a century-long history of excellence and really interfacing with the rest of the world. There are many notable and prominent leaders that have come through Tsinghua University that have a very important influence in China and around the world. So there is this legacy of leadership. We found that this institution would be very fitting to be our home base for the Schwarzman Scholars Program. So what is this program? Schwarzman Scholars offers a fully funded 10-month merit-based scholarship where scholars will pursue a master's in global affairs. Each year, we have about 150 members of a cohort participate in our program. And so this is a really amazing opportunity for you to deepen your leadership capacity and your potential. We provide you with cross-cultural leadership skills and access to global networks of influential speakers, thought leaders, and change makers who engage with this community and beyond. So in terms of our program experience, I would say and view this in two components. There's going to be the academic experience and also the experiential component of Schwarzman Scholars. Generally speaking, I'd say that it's about 60% of the focus will be specifically on academics, and the 40%, the remaining 40, will be on the experiential component. So let's talk more about the academics and what we have to offer. As I mentioned to you before, Schwarzman Scholars is going to be a leadership development program. And so we are really here to help you build your leadership capacity. Our academic program is going to be anchored on 3 pillars of the core curriculum. It's going to be focused on leadership, global affairs, and modern China. You may find the syllabus of all of our course listings and what we have to offer on our website. So you can get a taste of the type of academic curriculum and activities you might be able to participate in. The core curriculum and our classes are really exciting, personalized, and unique. They're unique in the sense that your classes will be co-taught by a Tsinghua faculty member vis-a-vis a visiting scholar. And that scholar may be a professor from a leading institution from all over the world. It could be the London School of Economics. It could be from Berkeley University in the United States. It could be from Melbourne, anyone. And so you are able to really see how two leading scholars are able to look and view complex topics and to have this exciting dynamic dialogue between them and your peers. In addition to our core curriculum, we also offer elective courses. Many of them are going to be China focused, or they may be additional and unique to your specific sector. Perhaps it's going to be on renewable energy. Perhaps it's going to be on artificial intelligence. They rotate quite frequently to be reflective of the changing times and of each individual cohort's academic interests. The culminating academic aspect of the Schwarzman Scholars Experience will be your capstone project. The capstone project may be completed or fulfilled in 3 different ways in the past. It may be done through a research paper, or it could be done through a case or policy analysis. And lastly, we also have offered a group capstone opportunity for our scholars, where our scholars work in groups, small groups, to implement real-world projects. So there is a need or an issue that a local Chinese firm is interested in solving or addressing, and these groups of scholars will work together in identifying a theory of change and help implementing the solution. You may also find a pre-recorded webinar from last year, a little bit more about just capstone opportunities too. So this is a really rich, rewarding experience. Your academic experience is going to be very rigorous here at Schwarzman Scholars. This is going to be a fully funded master's degree program. And it's the only one at Tsinghua, in fact, that is offered in 1 month duration. Oh, it's rather a 1 year duration. All of the other master's programs are going to be 2 years or longer. So this is really a condensed, concentrated academic experience. There's a lot of rigor involved. It also is important for me to note that there is also Mandarin instruction for our Schwarzman scholars. We want to meet you where you are in terms of your Mandarin instruction. Many of our scholars, over half or so for this incoming class, have never spoken a word of or phrase of Mandarin. And that is perfectly A-okay. We will get you to be at a comfortable conversational level. There are also many other members of the Schwarzman Scholars community who join us. They've already had exposure to China or Mandarin fluency. And so we're here to help you, again, build your capacity to make sure that you are really comfortable, interacting in China and in Beijing. It's so important, I feel, language acquisition for one to really master that. You get a much more nuanced understanding of culture, people, individuals, and society in that way. And so that's why it's another key component of our Schwarzman Scholars academic experience. We also offer a lot of experiential learning, things that you do outside of the traditional classroom context. So one of them will be a personalized mentorship experience. So each scholar of each cohort will be paired up with a mentor. And so this is an opportunity for our scholars to really expand their understanding of leadership and their definitions of it and how it's exercised in context. And so our scholars have really developed quite strong and personal relationships with their mentors. Some of the mentors invite the mentees over to their personal home over the Lunar New Year holidays to celebrate them. They're here to cheer you on and support you during your highs, and also make sure that they are there to help you reframe and set you up for success when things don't always go very right. So in terms of mentors in the past that we've had here, we've included the managing director of the China lead over at Bloomberg for media. We have others who are the deputy ministers of information for the Chinese government as well. We also have the president of BP China, who has volunteered to be a mentor in the past. We also offer deep dives at Schwarzman Scholars, and this is one of our signature opportunities. Each year, our scholars are going to be required to go on in the fall to participate in a 4-credit field trip anywhere in China. It's going to be led by a faculty member. And so that's an opportunity where you're able to see everything that you've read so far in the textbooks in your undergraduate career, now at Schwarzman College. You're seeing if the theories apply in real life and you get a better, more nuanced understanding of what you've been taught so far in the classroom. As you can see on the slide here, there are deep dives that are focused on all these different areas. And so it really is a matter of choosing which one is of interest to you. And some highlights could be focused on and showcased in one of our other pre-recorded webinars from last year with our coordinator of these deep dives. He's just wonderful. His name is Chad Futrell. I encourage you to watch it on YouTube. But something that really resonates with me is just, again, hearing from alumni. One of them recounted their time in Shenzhen in China, and they were going to do a tour. And this tour, they were met by just a robot. And so it was just really showcasing to that alum how automation is revolutionizing the workplace environment in that specific context. So these are just a really amazing opportunities for you to just see again how things apply in the real world context. We also offer, this is optional, but many scholars like to participate in it, internship opportunities. So if you want to have some working experience during your time, you may coordinate with the Career Center. And there are some where it's already pre-established relations that we have with firms in the general area, or if you have a specific company or industry that you'd like to work on and do an internship with, you may reach out and try to get that addressed too. So in terms of student life, it is super rich, and this is what makes our Schwarzman Scholars community so exciting and vibrant. And so there's lots of different student-led initiatives that our scholars are able to participate in, numerous clubs and initiatives. And each year, our cohorts, they're made up of so many unique individuals. And so those interests will be shown through in terms of what types of organizations and clubs are in existence that year. But for example, I just printed out earlier this week a little bit of a listing of all the activities that are currently going on campus. And so there are 3 students yesterday that organized a clothing swap over on campus. And so there was some, if you want to donate your clothing or if you wanted to sell or shop around, you're able to do so in that sense. There is another group of scholars who are creating a debate club session on learning how to hack public speaking in English as a non-native or ESL or EFL speaker. Or there's another option for you to participate with, a lot of other organizations. So lots of activities going on all the time at Schwarzman College. We also are a very active bunch. As you can see in this photograph here, on campus, people are very, very much into participating in physical activities. So we're well represented in terms of our soccer clubs or football clubs, basketball. And then we also have many participants who love to sing. And so you're going to be able to access the larger Tsinghua student body network as well and participate in those clubs and organizations if you choose. Another key aspect of the Schwarzman Scholars experience will be the ability for you to explore China. This is an immersive experience, and it's so exciting for you to be a Schwarzman Scholar, to use Schwarzman College, Tsinghua University, and Beijing as your hub. Beijing being the capital city already brings a lot of different people to the general area. So we offer lots of different field trips to companies, organizations. We also schedule lots of visits to cultural sites. But you may also do this on your own volition in your free time with your classmates. You may be able to go and go shopping, perhaps, or you might take the Lightspeed Rail and go to neighboring provinces or major cities to just get a better sense of China at large. There's so many different cultures and people and things to do during your time. And so our scholars have really loved using Beijing as a hub to explore China. And then if the opportunity provides, beyond. So doing even travels in Southeast Asia too. Professional development is another key aspect of the Schwarzman Scholars experience. We are here for you, and you're going to be part of the Schwarzman Scholars network. And we want to make sure that we set you up for success even after your time at Schwarzman College. So my wonderful colleagues and the careers team, they're there to support you. Careers, they really have a much more broader view of what it is. So it's not necessarily exactly securing a job, but it's really about how do you design your life. So they offer support services if you're interested in going through graduate school, so getting a terminal degree, perhaps a medical degree, a law degree, going through and completing an MBA. We also are there to support you in developing your professional skills, going over your resume, taking some personality tests to better understand where your strengths are and what industries are best fitted for your talents. We're there for you in that regard. And then they also offer lots of programming, and we have lots of amazing connections with really world-renowned institutions and organizations. So for example, later this week, we do have a Schwarzman Fellowship with the Woodrow Wilson Center. You're also able to connect later this week that there's a Schwarzman College Alumni in Tech panel. So our alumni are also there to take advantage of supporting you and uplifting you and making sure that you're able to make these connections after you graduate and after you leave Schwarzman College. And so for those of you who are engaging with us for the first time, I want to give you a quick showcase and a quick virtual tour, if you will, of the campus. It's going to be the heart of the Schwarzman Scholars experience. You live, learn, work here at Schwarzman College. So this is an amazing facility for you. So this is again based in Tsinghua University in Beijing. Once you step foot onto Schwarzman College, you'll be greeted in the front courtyard. There's always lots of physical activities or people milling around, coming and going. Our Dean of Students, Melanie Kunderman, often on good weather days, will do CrossFit classes outside, and so you could see people being engaged in that manner. All of our scholars have their own individual dorm room and their own restroom as well that's attached to it. So you have your own personal space to really restore and recharge that's connected to a larger common area. So this common area is shared by 5 other scholars, so 6 total. And from my connections and conversations with alumni, this is really where the magic happens. So, there's so many impactful, meaningful conversations our alumni have had, digesting what they just heard from a guest speaker, talking more about what life is like back home, personal things. And so this is really just a wonderful way for you to create a smaller, tight-knit network throughout your Schwarzman Scholars experience. Here's an example of some of our classrooms. Again, many of our classes will be conducted right here on our campus. And it's a really great opportunity for you to just engage with the brightest minds from all over the world. We also have access to an amazing library facility for you to study, to do more research. And then this is our auditorium, Dalio Auditorium. Schwarzman College has really become renowned and known across Tsinghua's campus as the place to be to hear from the most preeminent thought leaders of the times. They know about Schwarzman Scholars. They are excited and eager to talk to us. And so very often there are these fireside chats, as you see on the screen here, that are led or moderated by our Schwarzman Scholars. And we've had some amazing speakers come through the doors. such as Dambisa Moyo, who is a leading economist. We also have Henry Kissinger, Kevin Rudd, who is the former Prime Minister of Australia. He was actually in residence at Tsinghua University and at Schwarzman College. And one really memorable thing that I've heard from scholars was 1 year he was there and he was going under a re-election campaign. And so he was seeing the results come in live with the scholars. And once he won, he was able to celebrate with all of them at the pub at Schwarzman College. We also have this amazing atrium for the forum. Again, another reception area, a place for you to connect with one another and our visiting speakers as well. And so the real big and exciting part of the Schwarzman Scholars Initiative is going to be creating this ever-growing network of alumni who are connected. They want to deepen the mission of mutual understanding between China and the rest of the world. So your connection with Schwarzman Scholars, again, does not end when you graduate and leave Beijing. You're going to be a member of the Schwarzman Scholars community for the rest of your life. And so we have a really robust and ever-growing alumni network. Our alumni team is there to create many opportunities for you to continue to be intellectually engaged, to connect with one another, continue to deepen your understanding of China even after your Schwarzman Scholars experience. So we have a very strong working relationship with the National Committee to U.S. and China Relations. We also have hosted lots of cultural engagement opportunities. So, for example, when the Guggenheim Museum had some features on Chinese art, we were able to have an after-hours tour there. There's also the Qijiuba district, the 798 Arts District in Beijing. We were able to have our alumni get a tour there too, and also some Silicon Valley, connections and opportunities for you to have these tours and gain more understanding about what's happening in China vis-a-vis the rest of the world and in different industries. And so we are really there. The alumni network is just magical. Our Schwarzman Scholars are really amazing people that are always so giving. They really connect with one another in such a deep and unique level. And so there are these formal programs that I just mentioned to you before, but there's also certainly so many things and activities that our Schwarzman Scholars, they create themselves and maintain. They have dinner parties to celebrate the Lunar New Year in many metropolitan cities. They have these opportunities for you to do mentorship talks, podcasts, other ways for you to engage too. And so now I hope you have a taste of what Schwarzman Scholars has to offer, and you're really excited and fired up about this amazing opportunity. So let me quickly go over the admissions aspect of the Schwarzman Scholars application. I want to emphasize to you too that this is a really unique opportunity. This is going to be a fully funded, it's fully endowed in perpetuity. So this is a fully funded graduate program. I want to emphasize again that this is going to be a graduate degree in global affairs. So that's the only academic offering that we have. And so that's something to note for you too. So in terms of the eligibility and what we look for, first and foremost, we want to make sure that you have completed an undergraduate degree. You must have this before you step foot on campus. So you could be in your final year at university and choose to apply, but just make sure that the diploma, you receive it before August of your enrollment year. We also have here a very unique and large age range in terms of eligibility. As you can see, it's 18 to 28 years of age. So it really is, we have no preference whatsoever. Approximately half of our incoming class is going to be straight from their undergraduate degree or undergraduate university, and then half of them will be young professionals. So you will choose to apply when you feel like you are in the position of putting your best foot forward. Lastly, we are going to be looking for English proficiency. So you must complete at least 2 years of your undergraduate degree in English. So just make sure that it's going to be the English is the language of instruction, and that will be waived, or else you will need to show proof of language fluency by providing some English language test scores. More information about that will be found on our website. In terms of key traits, we are going to be a leadership development program. So it's first and of most importance is for you to showcase demonstrated leadership in your defined community. Community is going to be very broad in that regard, but it's going to be important for you to contextualize that in your application. We're also looking for outstanding individuals who demonstrate exemplary character, rigorous academic course load. As I mentioned to you earlier in this webinar, the Schwarzman Scholars Program is going to be an intensive one-year master's program. So we really want to make sure that we set you up for success in that regard. You do not need to have a perfect transcript. You do not need to have perfect GPA either. There is no minimum, but again, we want to make sure that you are able to handle a very rigorous course load when you are at Schwarzman Scholars. More importantly, the other attributes that we're looking for too are those who exhibit open-mindedness, those who are entrepreneurial. And I just spoke to 2 alums earlier today, and they also mentioned two other adjectives I think are really wonderful. One is going to be our scholars are super passionate. Our scholars really care about what they have to say, their convictions, the world as it is today. And again, they are passionate about our mission too, of deepening mutual understanding between China and the rest of the world. Another similar adjective, another alumni mentioned, was they are invested. So once they are all in, and they are committing to a cause, and they're here to support it and see it through. So I think those are 2 that really stood out to me when I was talking to alums earlier this morning. And so how do you apply to Schwarzman Scholars? It's going to be an online application process. There will be some supporting documents that we're going to ask you to provide us as well, including your university transcripts and letters of recommendation. After we receive your application, we will go through a review, and then we will identify and select several hundred people to go through for a panel interview. The panel interview will be comprised of interviewers who are leaders of today from across all sectors, from China and the rest of the world. And they are the ones who ultimately help us identify who will be in the next cohort of Schwarzman Scholars. Frequently asked questions will also be addressed on our website if you go to the admissions section there too, and in many of our other pre-recorded webinars and featured spotlights. So here's a quick overview for those who are more visual in nature in terms of our key dates. Schwarzman Scholars has 2 different application timelines. There's a China application and a US global application. And so if you are a Chinese national or have a Chinese permanent residency, you'll apply through the China application process. If you do not have that, then you'll apply through US global. So it's all based on your citizenship or permanent residency. The China application is currently open. It will close on May 20th. The US global application will open on April 13th and close on September 20th. After the application deadlines, you can see we will have our interviews that will be conducted shortly thereafter. All scholars will be notified of our decision in late November, and the next class will be announced in early December 2022, with all of our incoming scholars coming to Schwarzman College in Beijing in August 2023. And so we really encourage you to learn more. It was so wonderful for you to connect with us here today. We're going to open up for Q&A in just a moment, but I encourage you again to learn more if you have not already, to join our mailing list. and then sign up for many of our other information sessions and featured spotlights specifically. My colleagues and I have so many wonderful featured spotlights and stories to share with you to help set you up for success if you choose to apply this year or in the future. And so please be on the lookout. We're going to have major updates on our website. And so encourage you to connect with us there and also on social media. With that, I again encourage you all in attendance to use the Q&A function, and I'm going to try to address all those questions that you have on hand right now. Okay, so let's begin. I see right here that one question is, for internships, is it beneficial to have previous Mandarin exposure? Not necessarily. So it really, again, depends on whether or not your internship is going to be geared towards a Chinese, outward-facing Chinese audience that requires Mandarin fluency. So you're able to work with our careers team, see if there are already some existing relationships in internship programs in which Mandarin fluency is not of concern, and you can participate in that, or you can also do or propose your own too. So that's a great question. The other question that has come in is, does having a degree in international relations help the admissions process since we're obtaining a similar degree at Tsinghua University? So no, it does not. It does not help in the sense that we are not looking for anyone of a specific degree. But that said, again, Schwarzman Scholars, we are a leadership development program. The master's is going to be a degree in global affairs, but we're really focusing on identifying leaders, promising young leaders in different sectors from different backgrounds, and really helping them develop their leadership capacity. So in terms of that, we have engineers, we have people interested in IR who are experts in IR, we have healthcare individuals as well. So we really want to have a very diverse and broad incoming cohort. Certainly, if you're interested in any particular area, what matters for us is how you define your theory of change and how you are a promising leader in your individual field or academic area of interest. That's a really great question. Is it recommended to apply after receiving your master's degree? Another common one. No, so there's no right time. And I encourage you all later this year, and also in some previous recorded webinars, we've had some other alumni talk through and share their own personal journeys as to when they decided to apply. Was it straight after completing their degree, or was it after waiting a few years and working in the field before choosing? Ultimately, the answer is up to you. There is no prescription as to how you want to lead your life and how Schwarzman Scholars may be a part of it at what moment in time. So one thing that I really encourage all of you prospective applicants listening in today, though, is to evaluate, right? You've just learned a lot about Schwarzman Scholars' initial take. And so take a moment to sit with it and absorb it. Are you ready potentially for this amazing opportunity to go to China and commit yourself fully? And as our alumni said, are you fully invested in giving your all to Schwarzman Scholars in the next year? If it's a yes, then this is now the time for you to apply. If you're still a little hesitant about it, I would give it a little bit more consideration, and then maybe now is not the right time, and maybe it might be a point in time in the future. So it could be after you completed an additional degree, or it can be after some work experience. Schwarzman Scholars could be done after you completed a terminal degree. So we have some doctors, we already have people who have JDs that are applying too. And again, because we are a leadership development program. So it's just a matter of how you articulate why Schwarzman Scholars will be impactful for you at this moment in time, and how you will be able to take these learnings and to support our mission in the future. In terms of how many students apply for the program on an annual basis, it varies, but we do have a few thousand apply every year. The Schwarzman Scholars, oh, thank you. The question here, trying to read through everything. Do you think the class of 2023 will be offline? This is a great question, and I'm so thankful for you to ask about this. So right now, Schwarzman Scholars, our current cohort, the cohort of 2022, 85% of our students are on campus at Schwarzman College in Beijing. And so this is a really exciting opportunity. We're so excited to have them, most of them together, learning together, living together in Beijing. And so this is really just going to be dependent on what the world is, how the world looks like when you would enroll, but we fully anticipate for the class of 2023 and beyond, hopefully to be in person. We're even expecting hopefully an in-person start for the upcoming class too. So it's again, none of us can forecast the future, but we will try our very best in getting you all together and having this in-person experience. Thank you for that question. And so let's see here. Another great question that just came in. If our application does not, if you're not accepted this year, are you able to apply again in the future? Absolutely. You are welcome to apply so long as you are within our age eligibility requirement. And we have several scholars each year who are reapplicants, successful reapplicants. So the big difference here is going to be for you to really understand why and articulate the change in your work and how you view leadership and why it might be a better moment for you now than it was then. We have some other pre-recorded webinars that focus on reapplicants, and I encourage you to listen in if that is ever the case. But no, you're able to apply so long as you fulfill our you're within our age eligibility. So don't be dissuaded if you are not accepted the first time around. Take heart. Okay, so this is another great question, and I think I've addressed it earlier in my emphasis on just our eligibility requirements, but have the GPA question. Does having a low GPA really hinder your opportunity? And so we, again, want to make sure that you are going to be able to be academically successful at Schwarzman Scholars. So ultimately, we're going to read through your application holistically. You're not going to be singularly filtered out just because of your GPA, but if your GPA is a little bit, not as strong, we are going to be looking for other outstanding factors and other outstanding leadership examples to make sure to support your case of being a viable candidate for the Schwarzman Scholars program. And so certainly it's not the only reason. If you don't have a high GPA, you shouldn't be dissuaded from applying at all. We're looking for the next generation of leaders. And again, leaders might not always have that direct translation to a perfect GPA, and we recognize that. At the same time, we want to make sure that you're able to handle a rigorous course load. So think of it in that regard. All right, so the wonderful question coming in. So do the main application questions and essay prompts remain the same, or do the prompts change from year to year? Generally speaking, we're still doing the final touches on the application here. The general premise will be the same, or general prompts will be the same more or less in that sense. But stay tuned, and I'm so thankful and glad that you're already thinking about these prompts and how you want to organize those too. We have an upcoming webinar that's going to be from chaos to concept, crafting your leadership narrative. The registration has not opened yet, but it will soon. And I encourage you to tune in or listen to the recording for more tips on that. That's a great question coming in. All right. And so again, as I mentioned to you before, for that person inquiring about international relations, there is no preference for any particular degree type or particular sector for those who are choosing to apply to Schwarzman Scholars. And no, having a master's degree or another terminal degree does not decrease your chances of receiving the scholarship. But again, it's important to emphasize, why is Schwarzman Scholars and this Master's in Global Affairs and Leadership Development program important for you, and how is that different from the education that you've already received. That's going to be really important for the admissions team to understand why you're choosing this and how we don't want you to be necessarily collecting more stars and stickers and pins and badges. So that's what's going to be important when we're reading your application. That's a great one. All right. And so let's see. Will you be that's a great question. So there are two questions. I'm going to combine them into one. So ability to travel to other cities during your time at Shores and Scholars, and how does the global geopolitical realities impact the scholars' ability to be on campus or in China? So we are not in a silo. We're not in isolation here at Shores and Scholars, and we certainly are going to be impacted by global influences. And so in terms of just scholar mobility, it will be dependent on what is happening outside and what governments have set in place. And so we're not, we're not able to shirk away from that. We don't have the privilege of not being, we're still very much a member of a very embedded, ever connected global community. So the reality is, it is going to be dependent on geopolitical relations, university mobility, but we're all going to take it a step at a time. And I think what's also really important, the way I frame and see this too, is why Shores and Scholars is so important today. We are an opportunity, we're an organization and program where we're really encouraging and fostering dialogue, connectivity. And so we are here to support that and are going to do our best to make sure that our scholars are also able to try to be very mobile and to be able to experience our program to the fullest degree possible. Okay. Wonderful questions are going on now too in terms of the nitty-gritty application process, in terms of who should be writing the letters of recommendation. And so these should be, more details will be found on our website. I want to make sure that you read that in full. And if there's any additional questions about that, feel free to reach out to admissions@shoresandscholars.org, and then also listen later on, maybe in the summertime. So for US summertime, it's going to be more June, July, August. We will have more featured spotlights or application walkthroughs that are going to be specific about the application itself. And I encourage you to tune in there. Right now, it's still a little early. Our application isn't open even. So really excited to hear your enthusiasm through this question, but we'll encourage you to just tune in there, and then you'll get a better, more full response. Okay, and so another great question coming in is, if you're accepted, are you permitted to defer the scholarship for the following year or cohort? So generally speaking, unless there's a really unusual and outstanding circumstance, we do not accept deferrals. We encourage you to apply that year that you choose, and again, you are confident, excited, and fired up to be in China the upcoming year. So the only extreme cases, again, will be in instances of medical emergencies, other outstanding conflicts. They very rarely occur. And so again, we encourage you to apply when you are confident, to put your best foot forward and you're ready for being invested in a fully, very immersive experience. All right, wonderful questions here. So let's see. Great questions. So what is the difference between the way young professionals are evaluated versus candidates coming directly out of undergraduates? That's a wonderful question coming in. I think the difference will be too, really just looking through, in terms of if we favor one group or another, there is none of that, but it's more so evaluating and understanding how you contextualize your community. So for many of our undergraduate students or applicants applying from undergraduate institutions, their community is going to be really focused more or less in their school community or their local environment. Whereas for a young professional, you now have this whole other, so many other potential networks and communities that you may be embedded in. And so just understanding how you articulate it in that regard. And then also hearing from your letters of recommenders. And so just a better understanding the context in which you're operating from, but there's no favoritism or preference for undergrads or those who are coming, who are applying as young professionals. I think also in terms of young professionals, there's this sense of maturity too, right? You have more lived experience. So we are, there is in a way, oftentimes our young professionals are able to better express and articulate why Schwarzman. So that's something for you to consider too, of just like evaluating the why, regardless of whether you're applying as a young professional or an undergraduate student. It's the why Schwarzman and why does the mission resonate to you. So long as you're able to articulate that very well, you're going to be a very compelling applicant for us. Wonderful. Great. Everyone, let's see here. Yes, there are many networking events with firms as part of professional development opportunities. So there's formal ones created by our careers team, and also those that are just our Schwarzman Scholars alumni network is so powerful, and they're all so connected. And so oftentimes our scholars themselves will introduce or ask their employers to host a general information session for their fellow peers or cohort mates. So certainly there's these amazing opportunities. Is it possible to participate in this program during a gap year? That's a great question. So if you're unable to be dually enrolled while being a Schwarzman Scholar. So what that means is, again, you cannot be actively participating in two degrees granting institutions. So there may be the chance, if you are taking an active gap year, so you choose to defer your third year of medical school to participate in Schwarzman Scholars, yes, that is possible, but you're unable to just do both at the same time. And just make sure that it's going to be clearly articulated and approved at your currently enrolled institution. That's very, very important as well. You don't want to be, caught in the crosshairs for that type of situation. Okay, lots of great questions here. Yes, wonderful. So is it, all right, I just responded to that one. And are we supported in the visa and travel process upon acceptance? Yes, if you are selected, our student life team will be there to support you and help guide you through the visa process. No worries in that regard. Yep, let's see here. We're nearing the end of all these questions. Great questions coming in, folks. I appreciate them. So we are also looking, okay, so each year, as I mentioned to you before, we receive a few thousand applications, and then we select ultimately an incoming class of 150 scholars from all over the world. So hopefully that addresses those two questions for you all in attendance. Lastly, there are two questions that remain. One of them is wondering about if a Hong Kong passport constitutes as Chinese in nationality, and will you use the Chinese portal or the global one? Great question. Why don't you email admissions@schwarzmanscholars.org and give us full detail, and then we will explain that to you there. Just want to make sure that we fully understand if it's the passport or permanent residency and what your other citizenship may be. So it always kind of varies and depends, and we want to make sure we give you the clearest answer possible. So please email us at admissions@schwarzmanscholars.org. And the last question, what kind of leadership experience is Schwarzman Scholars looking for? That's a wonderful question. And it really is going to be how you define leadership and your local community. And so leadership, in our application, we are looking for you too to help us understand how you define leadership. There is no right or wrong answer in this regard. And we have lots of different alumni in the past who've expressed their version and articulated their version of leadership in pre-recorded webinars. So I encourage you to tune in if you'd like there, but it's ultimately, I'm going to put it back on you, but it's really how you want to define leadership, and we're curious to hear your definition of it and how it may be added in our varied understanding of our world today, and in terms of our really unique context. So leadership, community, all of these things do not work in silo, these definitions. They are going to be in context. And so we're excited, and that's what fires me up as a selection officer each year, hearing how our applicants define and view their world from their eyes and being able to just be privy to that. That's amazing. The last question coming in, wonderful one, is our applications only looked on after the deadline. I want to reassure you, yes, that's the case. There is no advantage for you applying and submitting before September 20th. I encourage you to not procrastinate and wait until the very last moment and then have a freak out, because the deadline will close at midnight of September 20th, so 11:59 p.m. Eastern time. But we will not be reviewing applications and going through the selection process before then. But for your own sanity, I encourage you to just, plan accordingly and don't stress yourself out in that regard. Amazing, folks. I want to thank you all for your time today. I want to give you back 7 minutes of your time. It was wonderful connecting with you all. I encourage you, if you have any further questions, as you see on the slide, connect and go to admissions@schwarzmanscholars.org. We are here to support you. We're excited for our April application launch. I wish you a great rest of the day, great rest of the week. Take care, everyone. I appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Recording